Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SlabStox 1:37 p.m. market report. I am here, as always, joined by my friend Aaron Nowak. It's a wonderful summer time right now. I'm actually a little bit hot. I need to get my AC on. I don't know what's going on. I'm just feeling good about the summer. How about you?
I'm feeling good about the summer too. You know, when the summer rolls around, that means that the National Card Show is here, happening in Chicago this year, of course. July 26th to the 30th. I'm pumped to be there. You guys are going to be there. We're going to be there. We'll be really close together. We'll show the booth locations as this show goes on. But Lou, this video is actually releasing a little bit differently than normally. We're going through the SlabStox YouTube channel this month for the June market report releasing in obviously early July. But 1 month hiatus, it looks like, from 137's YouTube channel.
Correct, but it still remains the 1:37 p.m. SlabStox market report.
100%. I just want to give some context for those who maybe are on SlabStox YouTube channel, maybe haven't watched on 137. Yes, 1:37 p.m. posted our market report, of course, this past for June 2023. So excited to talk about here today.
Real quick,
with Lou.
If you are seeing this show for the first time on the SlabStox YouTube page, please comment down below with your favorite part of the show and your least favorite part of the show. Thank you.
Yes, please let us know. Watch the show. Let us know what we did well, what we didn't do well, or what you like and what you didn't like. And here we go. Let's jump right into it, Lou. The very first take of the month is about tips for attending the National, or any card show for that matter. And I gotta say, Papa Slabs was cooking up some tips here. Him and I went back and forth. He wrote this section because he's been to all the nationals with me so far. I think we're up to like 7 now this year, and he's learned a lot. So we got tip number 1, which is set a budget. And like it says, it sounds so simple until you realize you walk into the show with hundreds of thousands of cards, millions of cards, and you're like, oh crap, I want this, that. Lou, how has setting a budget went for you in the past, or not went?
I like to think of the National as Disney World. So while this is sage advice, when I go to Disney World, I go crazy. So the National is also like that. I'm walking out of there like with the most random things you've ever heard of.
So and that might even have to do with number 2. You said most random thing you've ever heard of. Are you going in there like, I want to get the Jordan card, or is it just like whatever I see I want if the impulse tells me to buy it?
I of course have like the things that I know I like. That's everyone does, but I'm completely open-minded, eyes wide open to like anything I'm interested in.
Definitely.
Anything that catches my eye.
I think as times went on, the tip number 1 about setting a budget, like I think if this is your first or second, maybe even third show, it's a really good idea. Like back when I was in, high school into maybe early college, like I'd go with, I remember specifically in high school, I worked a summer job at Target to make money to bring to the National. I went with like $1,000, I think it was, and blew it all on cards when I was 15. But basically, setting a budget can be good because it is easy to overspend. It's very easy to overspend in that environment. And
it is. I'm also being a little silly. Like, of course, I'm like, whatever, but I'm not going to go there and, empty my bank account. That's crazy, obviously.
Yes. I would say what's important here is like, I think the National is a great place to like rip a box with your friends, or like Nate used to rip a yearly box of Bowman baseball. I think that setting a budget could even be like, where do you want to spend your funds? Because spending your funds on singles obviously will go way further than buying a bunch of boxes and just ripping.
Not as fun.
It is fun. It's great fun ripping boxes, and there's so many boxes there you can buy because there's so many different of the retailers, distributors, whatever it is, it's set up there. But yeah, I think that's good to know. Like, what are your limits on ripping boxes? Because even when I was younger, I'd definitely go and get a box or 2 per show. That's
probably fair. I think I'll assign myself. All right, I'm gonna do like one Bowman draft box, like one something of this. You know what I mean? That's probably fair.
Yeah, I'd say that's where it maybe applies more. And then also, like I don't know how you work with this, because my feeling for you, Lou, is that obviously you do card talk, you collect cards, you look at cards all the time. But how many shows do you go to, let's say, throughout a month? 0 to 1?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say I go to like 5 shows a year.
Okay, so maybe you don't have as much experience with the whole selling and buying on the percent basis thing, but is there a percent to you where you're like, oh, if I'm a buyer walking up to the booth and I see this sale on eBay, I want to buy it at this percent?
My general rule of thumb is always whatever eBay fees are, if I can knock that off, I feel great. That's how I deal in person too. It's like, what is, what is it, 15% or something like that? Like whatever that is, just knock that off. And I'm cool with buying or selling at that price.
It's around 13% or so. And I would say the exact same thing. Like I put 80 to to 100% of comps in here, depending on the card. Like if it's a card that you can find all the time, anywhere, price fluctuates a lot, like 80%, like I'd say is probably what that stuff is going to sell for off of like eBay comps, like a 2019 Prism, Zion PSA 10 or something like that.
Exactly.
But like a rare card, one that's hard to find, maybe it sold 6 months ago.
Different thing anyway, because nothing to compare it to.
Exactly. There's nothing to compare it to. So one, you're not even really spending based on like a percent probably, unless you just take it off the last sale. But two, like you're going to want to spend more for it because you can't find it anywhere else. So
yes, that's true as well. There is the national, the little juice the national gives every seller at their table, but that's neither here nor there.
So talk to me about that. I don't know how much you've done walking around the show versus being behind the booth. I tend to now be behind the booth more, but like I feel like that everyone is always like, oh, these sellers at the national, they all price their cards so high. To me, it just depends on the seller. You'll find sellers that are great, and you'll come to a booth like Card Talk or come to a booth like SlabStox and nice prices that reflect the current market. They're willing to deal with you, like knock off some dollars, trade here and there. But then you got people that are, I'm only selling. They're all like prices from 6 months ago, and there's very polar opposites happening at the show. Do you think that there's enough there of the dealers that are like willing to work with you, and so you can make a good time of it versus only focusing on like this person wants $500 for a Julio base PSA 10?
I think it's hard to know for me, it's hard for me to know until I get there, because there's been times where I get to a show and I'm like, all right, I'm expecting things to be like way more expensive than they should, and then they're not. It's really just about the vibes, and then it's also how dealer heavy is your show, because dealers tend to try to charge a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that we'll see how it goes this year at the National. They expanded the square footage by a lot, but there is a lot more corporate area, I believe. And they like expanded only to new show dealers. Right. So we'll see how this year goes. It should be huge, and I'll get down to the map here. That's a little F1 deal I did last year. Just want to throw an image in there of the deals, but I'm just going to skip past this really quick. So if you look at the map here, this is a very small section of the map, and this is where we are set up in the green there at 579 and 696. But right across diagonal there is 689 and 691. That is where Card Talk is, where Lou will be, and the gang, Tyler and Jay. I'm sure Court will be there, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Cool. And if you scroll out though, that little green section, that is the green section that we show. Like that is this entire rectangle here. That's the size of that compared to the whole show.
That's insane.
Yeah. So Lou, they added this entire like lower section down here, I believe.
Wait, so can I'm gonna sound really stupid. This big open area here in the middle, is that like what I think of as the corporate area? Or is this like the main lobby?
No, this is like the case break pavilion. So you've got corporate in all these like squares right here next to where we are. This is all corporate. And then if you go down here, this is all corporate down here now. So
interesting.
They pretty much added I think it's like 100,000 square feet they added, and probably half of it was taken up by corporate.
Wow.
And then the autograph area is all the way at the bottom of the show, which is actually possibly like an extra room now. So they definitely add an extra room over here. But yeah, it's massive. This is by far the biggest square footage show I'd say we've seen yet, at least in the last 15 years that I remember.
This is wild. This is going to be insane.
Yeah, it will be crazy. It will be crazy. You might look up here in the green block and say like, oh, they're so far away from main entrance over here, which is true. It's not like necessarily right next to there, but the red carpet area, I tell you, is the place to be. We've been set up there both times we were set up in Chicago. Easier on the feet, more space around the booth. It's super tight in the booth in the middle, and it just gets packed. There's a lot more space. It's a lot more breathable.
And a lot of foot traffic there too.
What do you say?
There's going to be even more foot traffic because everyone funnels. People do, at least from what I can tell, people like funnel towards the corporate stuff and then like spread out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be awesome. I mean, I love that area. It was great. So I'm happy to be back there. Happy that you guys are there this year. Yeah, and then also have a couple other ones here. I'll just rifle through quick. Day one deals Wednesday night. It's a preview night where actually anyone can go. You don't have to be a VIP to attend it, but you do get in 30 minutes earlier as a VIP if you buy the specific ticket from the National. It's about 4 hours. It's 4 to 8 o'clock at night. Sometimes the best deals, you find at that 4 o'clock period or 4 hour time period, because you can, go through the dollar boxes, $5 boxes before other people can. And then also don't pass up a buy if you see it. Now, it's not to say buy every single thing you see, but if there's something where you just know you just know in your gut, you're like, that's a great price. That's a card I want. There's a good chance it's not there 10 minutes later. And this happens at many shows. This has happened to me many times in the National where you pass on something, it's just not there because so many people are walking past these booths. This isn't, a local show where booths aren't all occupied or like there's like a 10-minute period between when some person comes and buys something like to the next person. Like booths are packed at the show at all hours of the day, all times. It doesn't really matter. So, that'll probably be gone, and bring water too. And comfortable shoes matters.
Yes, I think I'm going to be buying some new sneakers for the show.
Not a bad thing at all. So, Lou, tell me just overall before we move on to the next section, excitement level for the National, maybe favorite thing you're looking forward to.
I'm like it's also still 3 weeks away, so I got a lot of time to get hyped up. I would say I'm like a 6.5 right this exact second in time. To be honest, I haven't thought a ton about it just because it's still 3 weeks away, and I feel like it creeps up on me every year. And literally in January, I was saying to myself, I should probably start thinking about this more now so that I'm not scrambling the week before. But here I am, not completely planned out. This is just me doing a stream of consciousness for everyone listening right now. But I am excited. It is a fun week. Like I said, it's like Disney World. It's like it's realistically the best shot I have to see you every year and Nate and everybody else like in the hobby that we've hung out with so much, especially over the last couple of years. Everything's so different. Like now we're getting back to how it used to be before. So it's a little bit different, trying to get in touch with people all the time and seeing everybody. So for me, that's like the highlight of the whole week, just hanging out. So I'm excited about that part. Yeah,
it should definitely be awesome. And for people who, maybe are looking forward to seeing Gary there, how do you know if Gary will be there and how long he'll be there?
Gary will be there. I don't know his full schedule for the week, but he'll be there.
All right, awesome. Looking forward to seeing him again. Just saw my VCon in Indy last month.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even go to that.
Yeah, I know. Tyler was there. I saw Tyler.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, moving on to take two. And actually, before doing that, I'm very excited for the National. Have been paying attention more than Lou. Had to do some planning as there's a lot
better
going
than
on.
me in all aspects.
Of course, we've got the Kesem charity event going on. That's going to be happening at the National Trade Night, the grand finale. There will be some action going on at the booth throughout the week with some things up for sale for Kesem specifically. And there will be, once again, I will announce that this upcoming week, actually, but PWCC weekly auction, all fees waived, all going to Kesem. So that'll be very cool. Excited for that again. More information coming on that, like I said, this upcoming week. All right, take two. The card community speaks. We got 3 posts here from June that we posted to our Instagram page, and the community was excited about. What do you say?
I like this.
Yeah, no, it's a great section. This is actually now my favorite section every month. But there's 3 posts that the community rather went in on in the comments, you could say. First one's about Zion and his PSA 10 red rookie number out of 299 PSA 10 because it reached its lowest point ever. So this is all the sales that's happened publicly that we know of. Started off as like a $3,700 card, hit $7K at one point. Of course, lots of in the news recently and in some trade rumors too. And it dropped under $1,000. Lou, just very, quickly off the top of your head, is Zion ever a player that you would look back, at again in the future and say, man, maybe I should buy him if this goes down to 500, 400? Or just
show me.
What do you say?
I'm in show me mode with Zion. Like I gotta be shown that you can play for more than 3 weeks at a time.
I mean, he shows up in those 3 weeks are exceptional, and then
the 3 weeks are amazing, and then he's gone for 6 months.
Yep, exactly. That's
so it's just hard to buy in on that. It's even like the Ben Simmons videos have officially started, like him working out, dunking, and shooting threes in an empty gym, and it's like there's no way we're gonna do this again. Ben Simmons cards like for the last 3 seasons have risen into the season every single year. He hits a three in an open gym shoot around. If the Nets can trade him to Portland for Dame, everyone will get excited about his stuff again.
Yeah, because guess what? He's going to run the show. This and that.
He's going to run the show in Portland.
Back to the card says not even close to the bottom line by now. HD Rip says 810 is still too high in my opinion. Jack Hotch says no, his career will be over the next 5 years. His body type is not built for basketball, and we have seen a lot of players quickly fade out in their career if they have too many injuries, obviously, and you never know. Next one up is the newest Wemby card. So this was released via Topps now.
Interesting card.
Super interesting. 1,137 total print run of this card. It's the relic from his first pitch he threw out at the Yankees game, which was not a great first pitch. But they basically sold 1,000 plus of these at $200 per card, with you receiving a random parallel between 1 of 1 gold to $499, no parallel, just like the full color card. Now, Lou, I saw this and I bought one. I bought one at the time it went up.
Smart.
I said, like there was a limited print run. Most Tops Now stuff is unlimited print run, and you get lucky if you get a parallel. At least here, the highest number thing is at $4.99. They all include the relics, and it's $200. And Wemby stuff was just so hot. I'm like, why not? And sold out probably 10 minutes after I bought one, and they now are reselling for like $375 on eBay basically for one of these cards. But the weird thing about this, Lou, and you tell me. No one knows what parallel they're going to get. And these are supposed to ship in like 3 months, I think.
Mm-hmm.
People are pre-selling these at $375. 3 months from now, if someone gets a out of 10 right in the mail, you think someone's actually going to ship it to someone else? The right thing to do is to ship it to someone else. But like,
I've always wondered how this stuff works.
It's just so weird to pre-sell. Like, there's no chance that I'm sitting here and be like, I'm going to pre-sell this on eBay. Like, there's no way. Cause like,
but you can also argue, right? Like the odds of, I'm just going to do a little math for you. The odds of you getting the orange are a lot lower than you get in the $4.99. So like if you bought 5 and you pre-sell 4, you made a free $500.
See,
and then you have one.
And a lot of people pre-selling them are probably people that bought multiples to the point to where you're like, well, if I get one of the parallels, I'll ship out the other, a $4.99 or whatever, right? So like, there's just a lot that goes into that I don't even want to have to deal with. So I'm just happy to get mine in the mail. I'm going to open it on camera, post it in Instagram Reels, and then we'll see what happens from there, depending on what the parallel is.
Yeah, I would not recommend purchasing a pre-order of a Tops Now that's shipping in 3 months.
No, if I were you, I would totally wait. And if you really want one of the ones at $4.99, it'll probably be way less than what they are now at $3.60 or whatever, because the parallels will start to be found and sold for, above that. So. Have someone saying over under $25 in a year from Jim in Cards 23.
It's an interesting question.
And Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube says $200 for a relic and ships in 4 months when $1 million other rookies will flood the market. No thanks. I think it is unique though. I do think it's unique, which is why I grabbed it. And speaking of, MS Ciolto said if he's a once in a generation talent like they say, this is a no-brainer buy for upside. How much would a 1984 event worn MJ 1-of-1 card of him throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley for an NLCS caliber Cubs team go for? So that's an interesting thought. Probably a ton of money.
Yeah, and like MJ is even it's a high bar to reach, but like if there was a Ohtani basketball jersey because he was at a basketball game or whatever, like that would sell for a lot of money.
It would, yeah. If you have got like one of the hottest players in a given sport, their stuff sells. Like generally, no matter what it is, and we've seen that with Ohtani.
And it's different and kind of cool and kind of weird.
Exactly. You've got Bowman base paper rookies, PSA 10s of Ohtani's doing like 200 plus now. Like there's like
crazy.
There's like hundreds of thousands of those things probably that are printed. Like maybe not that many, but there's a lot. Maybe it is that many. All right, moving on. This is a fun one for you. So Jordan's market. This was back early June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was crushing it. Still is crushing it, I believe. And you've got 3 prospects over there, 2 of which end up being called up now between Volpe and Elly De La Cruz. And obviously De La Cruz has been killing it. So that card's probably worth more than it was at this time of the post, which is around $635 for multiple refractor auto PSA 9s. But you've got the Jackson Holiday as well, who hasn't been called up, but now he's the number 1 prospect in baseball. So Lou, you tell me, you're a big Jordan fan, but at the time, are you taking prospects or are you taking the sure hitter in baseball? I mean, he's a great hitter, one of the best 3 from the last few years.
At the time, you probably say you're taking Jordan, but his injury issues have continued to rear its head. And there's a crazy stat I saw yesterday that Jose Altuve and Jordan Alvarez have only had hits in the same game 4 times this year. So like they're just both hurt. Jordan's always hurt all the time. It's just the way it is with him. I would also argue that you still might take the upside of Jordan over Anthony Volpe, who had some chicken parm and started hitting 350. Elly De La Cruz's electric factory, but has been up for 5 minutes. And Jackson Holiday, who's never played a game in the majors. I still might take Jordan.
So check this out. At the time of this post, this had to have been early June. It just had to be. Maybe I can actually click this and see. Either way, the time of this post, it's June 4th. All these cards were selling for around $635. Some a little bit more.
$635 total or $635 each?
No, $635 each.
Okay.
And the Elly might have been a little bit more than $635 at the time. I just looked at the most recent selling Elly PSA 9 refractor, $1,230.
Yeah, that's a little bit wild and crazy.
Bro, people are spending so much money on Elly, and the Reds are nice. I'm actually going to the game this weekend when we play them. I really hope we win. But the most recent sale on the Jordan is still the same amount. A new one.
Do you see the clip of him pointing at his bat after he hit a home run last night?
No, but I heard they went like 450 feet or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, might be a little bit old news by the time it comes out, but you'll think it's funny. So he got checked for cork in his bat last night, or they checked his bat for something. I think it's cork. I assume it's cork because that's like the visualization I have of like Sammy Sosa with the cork. Yeah. So they checked him, nothing obviously. He comes up, his next at bat hits a moonshot and pointed at his bat and was looking at the ump like, check it again.
That's so funny.
It was electric.
That's hilarious. I love.
To be honest, that might make me pull the trigger on 1200 for Ellie just because.
I gotta say, players that do that type of stuff in baseball definitely get like people that want to buy their cards more. Like you don't want to collect like some guy just sits there on the bench and doesn't do anything. You want to collect the guy that's like, having fun all up in people's faces and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Good for him. Yeah, I mean, some of these people in the comments were saying, yes, it's ridiculous. Same with Devers. He shouldn't be less when he can actually play us from upstate sports cards. But at this point, obviously, the LE card is absolutely crushing the rest. Okay, moving on to take 3, which is about tracking the card market and the SlabStox 100 index, which is public on Card Ladder. You can actually click the link in the market report on 137pm.com to see all 100 cards in the SX 100 in the next week. The quarter 2 update is going out, or quarter 3, whatever I'm going to call it. Either way, the second update of the year is going out through our daily slab survey. So you all be able to vote on which cards you want in and which cards you want out of the SX 100. It's be good for you to hop on to 137pm.com, click on the public index, and then also make sure you are signed up for the daily slab where those surveys will be going out. You can sign up at slabstox.com. Regardless
to
of that,
understand how we got John Morant in the winner section.
Yeah, so that's what we're about to hop into here. We're only going to be talking about 2 cards from this winners and losers section. You can hop on into this report and read about the rest. But John Morant's in the winner section, okay? And you're going to say to yourself, why in the world is John Morant in the winner section? And in the loser section, there's Jimmy Butler. So the funny thing is, in May's market report, Jimmy Butler was one of the 3 winners. And in May's market report, John Morant was one of the 3 losers. Now, Lou, I got to show you something here. I'm going to show you the chart for John Morant Silver PSA 10s over the last 3 months, okay?
Okay.
And it actually has started to trend down a little bit since the start of July, but this is just crazy. So this is the chart of John Morant. Here it is. There's this card over the last 3 months. You've got, all this stuff going on. It drops from $800 all the way down to $360 about at the very low. Since the start of June, though, maybe it just got too low for people. They start buying it because it's too low. I don't know. It went all the way up to 535, and now it just dipped the last 2 sales like 480, but still way higher than it was in June. I don't know why people are saying like maybe it's just like, oh, the cards dropped too much or how good he is. Oh, also, I know why too. That suspension probably wasn't even as big as people were expecting. They're probably expecting like half a season to a full year or something like that. Ended up being like 20 games.
Yeah. But still,
no, I agree with you. It is, but still, like, how in the world does that card rise?
What's still like? Yeah, I would love to know the rationale of like, all right, I'm going to spend $400 on this draw card.
Here's what I
can you go back to that chart for me?
I can. What I could understand is you get to 350 right at the start of June, and then the draft happens at like June 20th or something around there. I could just see it flatlining at like 360 here. It beats me why it rose another $100 and some dollars, like this isn't necessarily a rare card. Like go have your pick of 1,550 different John Morant Silver PSA 10s. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're hard to come by right now. I'm sure people are dying to give them away.
Now, I'm a little perplexed by that as well. So, let us know in the comments, are you selling John Morant with that little increase? I would be if it was me. And then the next one that we're going to talk about for the loser.
Shout out Card Ladder.
Shout out Card Ladder. Some awesome charts here. And this is a 3-month look as well. But this is Jimmy Butler, 2012 Prism PSA 10. Last year was 151 at the start of July. But, you saw the NBA Finals run. They got to the finals. Goes from about $100 in April up to $250 or $300 in May, and instantly after they lose the finals. I mean, this is back down to $150, which is still increased in the last 3 months. You gotta give props to someone that believed in Jimmy Butler in the Heat back in April. But at the same point, it really does go to show, hey, if a card hits a big spike in this day and age market, and if you don't really think that they're gonna, pull off a Jokic type of performance, which I'm not sure how many people were hedging on Jimmy Butler to continue that against Nuggets. It's better to sell and take the money, at least in my opinion. Yeah,
definitely. This is just to me, the classic chart we've seen now for 4 or 5 years of the championship run. It's over.
It's repeatable, right? It's a process that you should get familiar with, and it's a process that you should get used to selling prior to
according to
prior to the run ending. So you can read about the other winners and losers in the SlabStox June marker.
Can I stop you for 1 second? Also,
yeah.
Bobby Witt, the Royals are kind of getting away with murder. They're horrible. They're just as bad as the A's, and no one talks about them.
Dude, the Royals are terrible. Do you know what Bobby Witt's stats are?
Are they bad?
They're really bad. He's got 96 OPS plus, a below average hitter. He has a 1.2 WAR.
Are they just terrible? Is that what it is?
I mean, I don't know. I don't pay attention enough and watch him to like understand exactly what's
going on.
All
the Royals fans in the chat, can you just let us know what the deal is with Bobby Witt Jr.?
Let us know what the deal is. But as you can see, this card right here has dropped in the month of June alone. It was 24% down to 372. Is Bowman Chrome first base PSA 10? BGS 9.5 auto. Lou, his career MLB stats 100 OPS plus. That's an average hitter.
Not good.
Like smack average, bang average.
Interesting. I mean, that's he's actually a good example of what people say about baseball. He's like this big, important, huge prospect, but like literally no one cares. And they're the Royals. So it's even more no one cares.
Yep.
So he's kind of flying under the radar. People are killing Volpe. I'm sure Volpe's stats are similar, if not a little bit better than his.
I think Volpe, like you said, he's been bouncing back a little bit recently, right? I feel like his stats have been getting a little bit better. He's at 90 OPS plus. So he's even worse than Witt on the full year.
I guess the last couple weeks have been different for Volpe. That's kind of
so they both have 12 home runs, but their overall OPS pluses are pretty bad.
They're both terrible.
both horrendous, especially for the money being spent.
Yeah.
You can read about some of the other markets out there, including the Car Ladder 50 in the tracking the market section, as well as grading volumes, which we will be covering each month going forward. You got June 2023 items graded.
That is crazy.
Yeah, of course. You always got PSA around 1 million, SGC around 100,000, Beckett around 74K, and then CG is just tracking the Pokemon grading. But I don't know if anyone really realizes who are sports collectors specifically, unless you look at this exact thing. There are so many TCG cards that get graded. Mm-hmm. That's 362,000 from PSA, 35 from Beckett. There's another 4 from SGC, and then there's the 60 from CGC, which was doing a lot of Pokemon and such. SGC dominated baseball in terms of percentages. Like that's probably about 55% of what they graded that last month. Of course, with the Series 2 special and everything. But man, TCG it just gets graded so much, which is funny because that's not what TCG is supposed to be for, right?
But it is like that's part of the collecting, the whole thing. I feel like, for the amount of baseball and football cards I see, I don't see an equal number of TCG. Like the percentage is not aligned. I feel like those people just grade their cards and you never see them again.
Which is, I'm not one of those people. So like we're saying, if you're one of those people and you want to jump in the comments and let us know about all that, but like,
it's fascinating to me. Like 60% of CSG is.
Well, technically, it's just 60,000 cards. So that's a total amount.
60,000 cards.
But that's still a lot. And but for PSA, that's 30% of what they graded, or more, and that's just TCG. So,
I also think it's crazy when you look at this. Like I get questions all the time. I'm sure you guys do too. Of like, hey, what do you think about PSA versus BGS versus SGC? Da 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 da. Say whatever you want. It's 1 million, and the next closest is 100,000. The end.
It's a lot of cards getting graded. That's no doubt. I mean, there's more you can talk about in terms of customer service and
of
turnaround
course,
time,
and
pricing.
Everything. Yes,
and
everything.
I don't want to jump into that here, of course. Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Just from like a size perspective, it's crazy. Like the scale.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, no doubt about it. If you want to read about the top 5 card sales of the month, you can jump into the report and read about those. We will, if you're watching on YouTube, you can pause it and see them right here. We're not going to break them down, although I do love me a Hank Aaron rookie any time of the day. But I want to specifically scroll down to, there are sports card shows in July outside the National. Dallas is happening the week before. You won't catch me there, but
no.
that'd be crazy. I'll go to Dallas the week before the National. National is July 26th to the 30th. But I want to specifically get down to end the show on the product releases. You've got a number of products coming out this month, soccer products with Chronicle Soccer to Obsidian Basketball. There's a couple of different baseball products, Museum Soccer, but specifically the one I want to bring up is 2023 Topps Chrome Baseball. We had some posts come out earlier this month in July about Topps Chrome Baseball. And Lou, My estimation is that, I asked people on Instagram, do you think this has the potential to be the best baseball release of the year? Of course, people, you can say Dynasty Baseball, like that's the highest end cards. Okay. But how many people are ripping Dynasty boxes? Like 1% of collectors, Topps Chrome Baseball is much more accessible. And this checklist is pretty crazy. It's nuts. Like you're talking Adley Rutschman, rookies and rookie autos, Corbin Carroll, top 2 MVP candidate, autos and rookies, Jordan Walker, Anthony Volpe, Francisco Alvarez, who was the number 1 prospect last year at one point. And then there's just like Gunnar Henderson and a slew of other players. Like I'm not even touching on all the players. Like the checklist is absolutely bonkers to where you're physically going to have 2 MVP candidates from each league between Adley and Corbin Carroll. And then a bunch of other like
Carroll's finished now.
Why is he finished?
Did you see what happened to him last night?
He got hurt last night?
Oh man, breaking news for Aaron. Yeah, he swung and it looked like he popped his shoulder out.
No, that is breaking news. I didn't see that.
That happened last night.
This means that Christian Yelich could take his spot in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I guess.
Dude, Yelich has been on fire recently.
Yeah, he was removed from the game after seeming to injure his shoulder on a swing, and I haven't seen anything since, but it looked like a classic. He overswung and popped the shoulder because you know how you swing super hard, right?
That happens at Tatis a couple times.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I hope that he heals up and comes back, but his cards still will have value. They're not going down to 0.
Of course, he's a beast too. I mean, the guy's an animal.
He's that animal. He's so good. But the point is that the release is it's gonna be loaded with rookies. They're switching up a couple things. Jumbo and hobby boxes, the amount of autographs per box has went down. However, there's no more veteran autographs in the base set. You can't pull like the Luke Voigt 9th year auto. It's just rookie autos, which is a big positive. There's game worn patches and game worn patch autographs in the product for the first time. I'm pretty sure about that. You can pull like a Mike Trout game worn patch auto of Topps Chrome. And then cool. There is the MVP buyback program is returning, which is huge. That was, remember we talked about last year in the market report, like that was massive. Like base cards of Acuna will be like $20 in this product, which is crazy.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
Refractors are like 40, yada yada. So like it'll be a lot more value. It'll be a really exciting release. And last year that wasn't announced at the time of release. That was added
after the fact. Yeah, I remember that.
Like now people will be able to speculate like, well, maybe with Carroll being injured, it'll for sure be Acuna now. But would you buy Acuna or Carroll cards to try to get the MVP buyback? For obviously Ohtani is going to win the MVP, so there's no debate there.
Well,
no, there's no debate. Don't even give me the eyebrows. Don't even give me the eyebrows.
I mean, if they finish last in the division, he still wins the MVP. Or second to last.
They'll make the playoffs. I hope.
No, they're not.
I hope. I won't watch him in the playoffs. But yeah, you're right. I don't know. But he will. There's no way he's not winning MVP. It doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. Matter. He's incredible, but their team is awful. Like,
who else is going to win MVP?
I don't know. I mean, who's second in odds? And then I have a question. I have a thought for you, but after I look this up.
Jump into it.
My question for you is Women's World Cup.
Oh, that is coming up, indeed.
And then I've been hearing about this. Alyssa Thompson is her name?
Her name has been running around.
Apparently, she is messy.
She's a beast. She's a beast. Someone at the show just brought up to me the other day.
Yes, I've been hearing it from like people in cards of like, have you heard about this Alyssa Thompson person? And that's interesting because if she's going to be like this big exciting player, that'd be cool. But then I also heard that the women's team is in the middle of like they're like stuck between eras right now, so she might not even play.
So she's 18. There's a ton of like really young, talented players, and then you're right. There's like. You got like the Alex Morgan on the other side. And then in the middle, there's a couple players like Rose Lavelle and such and Mallory Pugh. All right,
so it definitely has to be Shohei because he's minus 750 to win the MVP.
There's no way that he doesn't.
Here's a good question. Who do you think the next closest to win an AL MVP is?
Luis Ariz. I don't know.
Well, no, he's in the NL.
Oh, duh. I was thinking about the twin. Yeah, that's impossible.
It's Corey Seager plus 1,700 is the next
Corey Seager. Name. Well, the Rangers are cooking this year, and he's actually staying healthy. So
they are cooking, yeah, for now.
For now, until the Astros have something to say about that.
For now, they just lost a series to us. So
all right, let's see. But yeah, I think the Women's World Cup, it's coming up in July. It starts in July. I'm super excited about it. There's a lot of really exciting U.S. Women's National Team players cards that have released actually within the last month, both through Select Soccer and Donruss Soccer, and then also the Parkside set, which Alyssa Thompson's only cards are in the Parkside set.
I think. I heard it only was like SI for kids or something.
Well, she probably is that too, but NWSL like releases an actual like pack pulled set, and I think she has autographs in that, but she doesn't have like the actual U.S. Women's National Team cards. yet. So it's
Are they not doing like a Don? Don't they normally put in like Donruss or something?
They do, but her cards weren't in there. I don't know if she didn't debut soon enough for them or what. You know, like they release a bunch, like Trinity Rodman's cards are in there, and everything like that. But yeah, there's a lot of young talent for women's.
I feel like that's something to watch. I mean, that actually is my most recent entry back in was I was doing the Women's World Cup for 2019, I guess.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. You're doing like the Donruss auto set, I think, or something.
Yep, that's exactly what I was doing.
All right, Lou. Well, should we shut it down here and see everyone at the National?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. We'll see you. If you are watching this and you're at the National, and you show me that you are subscribed to the SlabStox YouTube channel and the 1:37 p.m. YouTube channel, I will give you a card pack. I'm not going to tell you what it is until it's there.
Look at that. If you stuck through the rest of the show, you would have known that. So hopefully
it's a football pack.
It's a football pack. All right, look at first one to go show Lou gets a football pack, it sounds like.
Not first. As many people as want. That's fine by me.
Oh, many people. All right. Lou's up in the ante.
I'm just saying. Trying to get people locked in.
Awesome. Well, Lou, thanks again for doing the market report this month. And thanks everyone for listening here on the SlabStox YouTube channel for the first time. Appreciate it all, and we'll see you at the National.